not both of them. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Life, Music, and Everything Else. I am your host, Sin. I want to thank everybody that took the time out to tune in and check me out. I promise I won't hold you up. Today, I have a very, very special guest in the house today. I'm so honored and pleased that she took the time out to come and do the podcast. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Shay White, and I'm a candidate for State House District 77 in 2018 here in the great state of Oklahoma.
Wow. We don't have the crowd, but I'm going to make sure I big up that because that is huge. One more time, drop the title for us, please.
My name is Shay White, and I'm a 2018 candidate for State House District 77 in the great state of Oklahoma.
Wow, somebody important on my podcast. I'm very honored. I'm grateful that you took the time to do this. I'll keep saying that throughout the podcast. But first, I want to get in. How are you originally from Oklahoma?
I am originally from Louisiana. I have been in Oklahoma for about a decade. It is where I received my degrees, started my career. It is where I casted my first vote, and Oklahoma is home.
First vote. Let me get Obama.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. You said degrees. Degrees?
Yes.
What degrees do you have?
So I have a bachelor's degree in social work from Oral Roberts University, and I also have a master's degree in social work that I got from the University of Oklahoma.
Oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. That's very impressive. Now, when I first talked to you about doing the interview, I didn't know if the way we actually got introduced was off limits. You know what I mean? Because you're running and things like that, but we actually got introduced to each other through music.
Yes.
Christian hip-hop music. Right here in this same studio.
What a time.
In this same charisma. And I remember hearing, the first time I heard you was with Chaz on the song Chaz had did. Mm-hmm. Well, no, you had him on. And I just remember two people came to mind. Debrat and Lady of Rage.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, with the delivery and everything. And I said, wow. And that's how, because I was doing my little spitting thing, and I look up, and you're where you are now. How did you, go from music? Was it God's calling, or just you kind of just led yourself there?
I think, we're humans, and human beings are complex. Many of us multifaceted and diverse, and
yeah.
I appreciate art. I appreciate music. I appreciate knowledge, intellect. So you become aware of yourself, and you have to honor who you are because there's a purpose. And I realized, my purpose is bigger than Shay White, and there was space and opportunity for me to explore all the many things and all the many sides of who I am and what makes me who I am. And music has been something that's been a part of my life since I've known myself. So, and I don't think it's going anywhere. So that was the season to reach out and explore and dig into some of this culture here in Tulsa.
Yeah,
we're big on arts here and music, and you're spending time with people. You're connecting with people in a higher way, and I think I'm all for it.
Now, have you seen since you announced that you were running? Have you seen a different side of Oklahoma that you may have never seen before you got involved with running?
Well, this journey is very fascinating, and I am open to learning more every day. I accept to have some kind of new experience for my benefit, or if I have to politely set it aside. I've been around this kind of political arena for a few years. Even growing up in 8th grade, I realized that I was interested in learning how to make policy and how to shape the world to be a better place for everybody, and that's kind of where the start of this seed was planted, so to speak. And so apparently it fell on good ground, and we're here to bring it to fruition. And so I think Oklahoma, Tulsa in particular, lots of good things, pretty progressive. You know, I've had over 1,000 people ask me to run for office before making the official announcement. So it's easy to, you know, say, you know, this person wants support, or, you know, hearing things that are probably negative, but I immediately encourage myself because I do know the support and just the intensity and the favor that's upon my life right now, and I have to honor that.
So before you even ran, you had people coming to you, telling you, supporting you to propel you to this position.
Correct.
So that means like you had a pretty solid foundation, pretty well known far as the things that you wanted to do, change-wise, community-wise, and just was a good support system. That's pretty awesome, man. Before you even made the decision to do it.
Right. You got to count the cost. Count the cost.
That's pretty awesome. Also, you're a licensed mental health provider?
Yes, I am a therapist, actually.
Really? You're not in there evaluating my mental state now, are you?
I think we all are at some point.
At some point you do. Yeah. I really agree with that. Like, but far as your take on now with the mental health and the controversy surrounding that, like, I don't know exactly the time, but I will say a lot over the last 5 years. You hear a whole lot of different cases on mental health and people not understanding how could somebody do this and then say mental health, or it being controversial because some people use it as a plea, to get away from the punishment that they do deserve. You know what I mean? But how would you explain it as a licensed person that deals with this issue every day? How would you explain like the difference, or how should we be sensitive to these kind of topics?
Right. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume you're talking about the stigma surrounding mental health care and treatment within our community.
Yeah.
As a social worker, I was a certified alcohol and drug counselor before I transitioned into this therapist position for the past couple of years. But what I've seen throughout my studies and my career, we have a lot of need here in Oklahoma and Tulsa, particularly dealing with substance abuse and mental health, and we're not treating those populations in an effective way. We're incarcerating them and not rehabilitating them, which creates more problems. And as a social worker, we look at systems, and you may have a broken home. You may have a father who's in jail, and a mom trying to make needs meet, and 3 or 4 kids, and all kinds of that takes a toll. So what my approach in my practice is, I'm a support. I teach coping skills. I focus on solution focus, solving that initial problem, because most of us are just trying to make it day to day. And there's a lot of anxiety. And I like to define anxiety as a general feeling of uncomfortableness, and we all carry that. In different situations, some more than others, but we need to know how to deal with it, just like we need to know how to manage stress, eat well, sleep well, take care of our bodies, and we also need to take care of our minds. And, mental health is just as important as physical health. They go hand in hand. Maybe that's why we have 2 hands. I don't know. Yeah,
that's true. Health-wise, we're going to do another podcast on health, the importance of that. I'm learning that now, and I'm 34.
Right.
You know what I mean? I guess better late than never, but that's very important. With the mental thing, how would it be that a person, or you say you guys look at the systems, like the way a child's brought up.
So you got family, that initial unit, whether it's traditional mom, dad, grandparents. That child may be brought up in foster home or living without outside of a relative situation. Then you have school, education, that's a system. Then you have the government, whether they receive assistance or are in need of assistance, that's another system. Society as a whole, you think about a person's biological, their immediate environment and their culture, and then you go on to think about their outside environments. their psychological history. Did their parents have some kind of mental health problem or just an undiagnosed issue that, if it were brought to the attention of a clinician, a determination would probably be made. And then you have the social context and the systems. Do they go to church? Do they have a support group? Are they in any kind of extracurricular things? Do they have hobbies? All of that is what makes the person whole. And so in order to know a person and know the needs and celebrate, the good things that occur in someone's life, you have to look at the big picture, and you don't leave out, It's important to know what's important to that person, and by developing a relationship and a rapport, you find out how best to treat this person, how best to serve this individual, and that's the basis of everything that I do.
Do you guys, as far as look into when it comes to mom-dad households versus mom households or single dad households, do you see a huge difference in between the kids that come from both parents in the household to the kids that come from single parents in the household, as far as like their outlook on life, like where they end up at? These kids here may be more troubling than these kids over here. Like, do you guys see a big difference in that?
I'm not an expert in that, but my best guess, or based on my experience, I would say that there probably isn't much difference. There is need in affluent communities and two-parent households. As a substance abuse counselor, I had clients, driving Range Rovers and BMWs and, trying to kick an addiction that their family didn't even know about. Wow. They were ashamed. I think we probably see media and hear more about underserved communities and their issues than about more affluent communities, and that could be for a lot of reasons. It's hard when you don't have the money to hire a lawyer to clear your situation up, and you have to go through the system, which there's no protection for you in that sense. And so I think the opportunity to enroll in some kind of health treatment as far as mental health, or to seek some supports, is something that everyone should look into. I mean, at any point in your life, I bet you would like to have a neutral person, just someone to talk to, someone to know, they're not going to judge me, or to even say, hey, I should seek this person out. And that comes from a therapeutic relationship. And, when I'm meeting with clients, I always tell them, I'm here as a support. And when I was growing up, because I primarily work with pre-K kids up to 5th grade and their families, when I was going through school, it would have been great
to have that,
to have a therapist, inside of school for me, and, someone that I can trust, and we can learn how to help each other in that therapeutic relationship. So it's not a bad thing. I think it's great to consult with people,
with someone,
just to hear yourself out, because it's all about the client's self-determination and getting them to do what it takes to achieve that goal, whatever it may be, big or small.
That's good you mentioned that, because I remember being in middle school, maybe even in high school, to where if you mention anything about a psychiatrist, or you was talking to someone, you automatically got the label crazy. You wasn't all there in the head, but the benefits of it is far greater in the future, as far as just to have somebody. Even now, like I find it's whether it's a pastor or it's like you said, someone's mutual that you can talk to get a different perspective on how to handle certain things. My question now, as we was talking about substance abuse, addiction, and I know you probably hear this all the time when people talk about the show Intervention. I've dealt with addiction hand in hand with my mom and other family members as far as alcoholism. I didn't really understand it at that young age, but now as I'm older, does it fall under a mental health issue for as far as someone that's addicted to like drugs and alcohol, and like, is there a difference between those two? Like, you know what I mean? Like with substance abuse, with just being hooked on drugs, is that a direct link to a person mental issues?
Yes, and I believe there is diagnosis